This is the face I'm going to start with.
That's a good face.
When are you going to count us down?
Great face.
I'm there.
Odds are you
Hello.
keep that face for the entirety of the show.
My neck will go numb.
You
I
gotta
don't
give
care.
numbers now. You gotta give
Yeah.
numbers now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new show. Hi, Shay. Hello, Tot. Hey, Carney. Thank you for making the show.
Carney!
Hopefully your streams have been going well. Yeah, we loved your aesthetic when we rated you too. It was awesome. But
Yeah.
thanks for joining. Thank you for the follow. You made us hit 100 followers. Woot woot.
Oh my goodness, that's right.
Yeah.
Hey,
I want a button that
Hey,
actually
never
makes
say
that
dice.
sound.
How are
never
ya?
say dice.
How are
I
you
was
doing?
literally...
Hey.
You were literally what?
I was just about to use the modrons or modrons
Oh.
that we got from
Yeah, there
from
we are.
following.
Hey,
What's his name
up,
again?
Nick?
The Modron's name?
Well, they're just modrons or modrons.
No, I thought that
Modrons.
when we rated
Good.
them, he said that the Modron has a name.
Does the
Oh,
Modron
I
have a
forgot
name?
it.
Never say dice.
Yeah, what was the modron's name?
Yeah. CR33MR.
Creamister?
Creamus.
I don't know. Am I supposed to read it like lead stuff?
That's
Is that
how I
stuff?
would
Creamer.
read it.
Creamer.
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 Is it creamer?
Is it? Can we get a phonetic spelling of
Yeah.
that?
Steve.
can I get-
Creamer
Coffee
coffee
ro-
robot.
Yeah, it's gonna be Creamer Coffee. That's
That's great. Well, hello everybody. This is a new show. Well, technically new show. We did an episode months ago. A little tavern talk to discuss chapter 1 through 10, I think, something like that. Or
Yeah,
1 through
1 through
5,
10.
something like that.
I think it was mainly just episode 4 or 5.
5 was
That's what
the
we
big
ended up
one,
talking
but
about,
Yeah,
yeah.
but it was, kind of synopsizing everything that's happened.
Okay.
Because 5 was the big boomer one.
Yeah, big only for boomers.
People
don't
that were born in
talk
the 50s are
about-
just rampant in that.
We don't
We don't
episode.
talk about episode 5 anymore.
We don't talk about boomers anymore.
We don't.
But this show is going to be a little bit more freeform because we're just going to be discussing what happened in the last chapter. Spoiler warning for the last chapter if you haven't seen it. If you're not too worried about the spoilers, then you can stick around, ask questions for today. Obviously, we have myself, Jeremy in the top right, who plays Ecclesius. And below me is Jess, who plays June. And in the bottom right, with the no webcam, everybody get mad at him, please, is Jay,
So
who
mad.
plays Zio. And
Wait,
How
did you
can
say
be
that if you
mad
got
at this
100
beautiful
followers?
face?
I was gonna say.
Oh,
but
yeah, wasn't the
your, no,
thing?
your beautiful face is hidden. But didn't you say if we hit 100 followers, you would get a webcam?
No, I'm pretty sure the number was a lot higher.
It was 1,000. It was
Oh.
1,000. Yeah, I remember it.
All right. Well, everybody
Brandon.
spread the word.
Well,
Spread the word.
We've got a goal to hit.
Yeah.
Shay, you got to pressure him.
Yeah.
Rage,
Shay,
big
put some
rage.
pressure on.
But
Or you know what? We're just gonna. Can we just, as opposed to using Zio's artwork that was illustrated by the lovely June, can we just take that screenshot that in our private Discord as just a picture? Just.
yeah, deal.
We'll like make your hair blonde and make you look like Zio.
Oh my god.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
even let Shay like Photoshop it for you. There you
That'd
go.
be great.
Or let Brandon deep fake your face onto Zio.
There you go.
That would
Dude,
be
Brandon,
funny.
you're in chat. I hope you heard that idea. We gotta start deep fake. We'll be the first people that just deep fake our characters and just 3D render them.
Yeah, I totally look like The Rock. But before we hop into the direct episode, Jeremy, you have some announcements you want to make?
Yeah. On our Instagram, we shared another sample of a song coming soon. It was actually an ode, inspired by the unfortunate events of episode 5. The song is titled "Farewell to the Kind," and you can see it on the Instagram. Just a little, I think, like 40-second sample of the song. You also can check out the badass rendition of Alar's sword that was bequeathed to him from the Raven Queen, the Raven's Edge, illustrated by June on the Instagram as well, which is really cool. And a bunch of other fun stuff that we had just kind of thrown there for behind the scenes stuff. And also we use it for announcements a lot more so than like the Twitter and Facebook. But also we, alongside with working on exploring the archives, which brings you here today, we are working on bringing recaps, arcane recaps that we're still working on. That way, there'll be little bite-size overviews of the episode. That way, people can catch up. And yeah, so there's a lot of fun stuff that we're working on, and hopefully, we're going to start rolling it out within a month or so. So be on the lookout for that stuff.
Sweet. Exciting.
Yeah.
But just so anybody that has been here for a while, we're not going to be, you know, super immersive in this one. If there's any questions you have for the cast, the Carrie Trues thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Carrie Trues,
So we'll be taking
Please.
questions directly from the chat if you have them. From anything from asking a cast member about their character, just asking the cast member, or asking me about DM things or the world if you have any questions. But he's often on the Discord. Thanks, Nick.
He's often
Like Shay has not been here.
I was gonna say, like, even should we start putting the polls for these for the exploring the archives, because we usually did the poll to see like
Put them on
who
A
put 'em on
public
Instagram.
one. Oh yeah, that's a good one
Do
too.
that, or on Twitter,
Instagram
one or two.
story.
Something.
Oh yeah, we'll look into doing something like that. And if you guys have ideas, like, please hop into our Discord or shoot us a DM on Instagram if you want to see something cool that you either haven't seen other streamers do or D&D people that are putting out stuff, because we have a lot of really amazingly talented artists and stuff that we would love some inspiration and some drive to figure out something new we can give to you guys.
But to begin the show as a curveball, because I've told not one of you guys, I'm just gonna choose one of you. Chat, someone in chat, name one of the cast members that are here. Jeremy, Jess, or Zio. Whoever answers first, I pick that one. And Nick,
Ooh,
don't do the sarcastic thing where you choose none of those.
While we're waiting for Chad to give us a quick idea, I do have one other quick announcement that Jess and I are actually celebrating our 6-year anniversary with all of you, the World Wide Webs.
Oh, really? Happy
Congrats.
anniversary! I didn't even know that.
You're sweet.
Cheers off screen.
Yeah.
Cheers off screen.
Cheers off screen, but half on screen.
So we got Zoe.
Zoe.
All
We're doing
right.
Zoe.
Close enough.
All right,
Go
Zio.
Zo.
We did what you meant. Though.
Zio, could you please? Oh, you're getting the happy anniversaries.
Thanks, guys.
Aw.
Zio, could you please synopsize last episode for us?
Oh, yeah, so let's see, where did we start? We started on our path coming into why is this name?
You're
Chicago.
doing
Good
terrific.
name. Yeah,
Nice
I'm
execution.
doing great. I need to pull up my notes. Starts with an
Freyas.
F. Freyas, yeah.
Yeah, can we
Uh,
assist?
Yeah, I know, right?
Phone a friend.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were on our way coming into Freyas.
Cinder.
We got some chats going for a while. Then we made our way into Freyas, where we were promptly kind of escorted to the new mayor of Freyas' establishment. And there we were informed that the Goliath that we had been looking for, along with his handler, as he was called, were there in Freyas, and they were assisting the new mayor of Freyas, Mayor Cornelio, who comes from Uthran, same place that I come from. Yeah, so we learned that Goliath was there, and then we kind of stepped out to have a discussion as things were getting a little bit tense with the mayor. And during our sidestep, we got pulled into a sewer by a member of the Bureau.
I totally thought,
And-
like, I don't. When you said a member of, I thought you were gonna say Akatsuki. This is where my head went.
Oh, that's who we need to throw into this
Yeah.
this campaign, is the Akatsuki.
Yep.
Twist after twist.
So
after
yeah,
twist
we
after
got
twist.
we got to have a conversation with this member of the Bureau, and he was letting us know that
His name was.
It
Cinder.
rhymes with a. Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah.
He didn't even need a phone friend.
Didn't even need
No.
the hit.
Didn't even need a friend.
Yeah.
Didn't even need the AT&T phone a friend.
Yeah, Cinder let us know that he was on a mission to eliminate the Goliath that we were also trying to eliminate, and we were trying to strike a deal of how we could work together and if we even should. So,
And
as soon as we kind of...
Sorry, continue.
I was just gonna wrap things up by saying as soon as we kind of got an idea of what our plan was gonna be and what kind of action we were gonna take, that's about where we ended.
Yep. And he also dropped some pretty big news that the main goal of the Bureau is to incite a war between Uthran and Celeria, which has been rumored and kind of speculated between the group and notable NPCs, but was finally confirmed by Cinder.
Dun dun dun.
But welcome, Ashy. Welcome. Glad to see you here. I don't know how you do that. But to kind of start things off, and for any three of you and anyone in chat, if you have a question, shoot it out at any point, and I'll ask one of them eventually. But for all of you, how do you all think? We'll start with the meeting with the mayor. How did you all think that went? Did it meet your expectations? Did it go how you thought it was gonna go? Did it, do you think it was just, it went horribly wrong?
As us or as our characters?
Yeah.
You.
I mean, when we first went in there, it's almost like it's like you want to trust your DM not to just constantly have everybody wearing a two-face and constantly looking for behind every curtain of a trap or some sort of mischief. But it was Jeremy thinking about the mayor. I was just constantly waiting to get poisoned, or like the chair to be like just thrown into like spikes that were off camera that we couldn't see. I was waiting for something to happen.
Well, like 100% when you mentioned that he wasn't like touching his food really, like right there, I was like, we're all gonna die.
Yeah, I got that vibe too. I was like, as soon as you mentioned that, I was like, shit.
Could have been a hero's feast though, so I was just like, I only eat vegetables and fruit.
It's funny when I said
poisoned the meat. Damn it!
Damn it! They all drank the wine. I poisoned the water.
Yeah, it was.
When I first said
made
that,
me nervous.
I intended it to be like he isn't touching his food. One, because I described that he just ate an entire meal. But two, because he was really interested in what you guys were saying. But the second I said it, I was like, that sounds like a con save waiting to happen.
Yeah.
And you're right. You're right, Dice. Any meeting between characters and politicians are designed to go poorly.
Yeah, I'm like.
Yeah.
Now, how did everybody feel as their characters compared to how you felt?
June felt like super on edge and uncomfortable knowing that the Goliath was in there right before we were. June also doesn't trust this guy because he's not in, like, he just took over. It's not his rightful spot. So it's more of like playing like pleasantries when really I want to burn your face off.
Yeah, how does Zio feel about it? I wanted to ask you that just because like your well, before I ask that, let me ask this. When Zio first left to be a shiny brand new adventuring boy, how long from home sentences? How long have you been away from home? Like when you finally arrived in Celeria, how long were you like absent like your royal family and status and just kind of out on the road thinking that you still had that umbrella of like power?
So when we all met, that was pretty much the length of time that it would have been, was however long it takes to get from my home to you guys. Like,
so when you opened the tavern door, you literally just like, that was the end of your...
Yeah.
I'm here.
That was in our shiny, awesome episode 0, episode 0. And
well, episode 1 when you met everybody, you mean, or when you met in episode 0?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the events of episode 0 obviously led up to session 1, so there was kind of a trail
Yeah, that was one of my favorite moments is when like Zio walks in, and at this point when I was playing Sven, and we all kind of had our gruff upbringing, and we were all sitting at a table, and I can't remember who it was that walked up and was kind of initiating like the first quest, like the first hook kind of thing, and they walked up and they're like, "Are you guys adventurers?" And everybody was just kind of like paused, and Zio, yes, we are.
To direct answer, he was probably traveling for about the better part of a half a year or so.
Mhm. That's what I was
A
thinking.
year, holy cow.
Yeah.
So-
travel.
To answer your previous question, how was Zio feeling about all this? He's feeling all kinds of different emotions. He's, startled to see, Thrawn's borders pushed that far. That was his, initial thoughts. And then, confusion at the, knowing that Uthran wouldn't have just given this entire city and territory to Cornelio and the Cornelio family. Also a little bit excited because there's that my city's getting bigger, better, winning,
Yeah.
And then also, just not too happy that knowing that these events are pushing us closer and closer to a war. And that is something that Zio doesn't want to see. So
Speaking
it's
of like
it's a
Zio,
mixed
oh,
bag.
sorry.
You're good.
But speaking of like Zio's excitement, I always wondered because it comes every once in a while, but you've aged 30 years because you were cursed,
Mhm.
and we've yet to find something to reverse it or anything really. So from the moment that, and this is kind of going all the way back to episode 1, no, we're trying to stay like relevant, but it goes into it. But when you were cursed, how much did Zio's like, hell yeah, let's go on an adventure and see the world and do new things and experience stuff, how much of that has that like kind of dropped off and you're like, I'm 50, I was
Yeah.
20 when I left, fuck adventuring.
Why did that sound so much like Scott Pilgrim? Well, today's Friday, and she doesn't work weekends, so Monday.
So
right?
Monday,
I'm 50.
just weekends up.
Sorry.
But it's like Zio kind of like, can we just cool it for a minute? Can we just go back home for a minute?
Can I get my
Yeah,
hard
there's been a
candy?
lot. There's been a lot of disgruntled feelings about adventuring in general. There's still that curiosity because he's only seen it from Uthran to
Here to
Solaria.
here,
Yeah, exactly.
and a little bit that way.
Yep, a little bit the other direction too.
Oh yeah, that's right. Lost
But
City.
so he's just like, there's got to be more. This can't be like the full experience. It can't be this shitty. First big mission, close friend that one of Zio's only friends is this entire group now, and we get sent out and he watches him get stabbed and die. And then in that same trip, this was right after, he just got a chunk of his life stolen from him.
Yeah, that was rough.
Things are growing great.
Yeah, it was
This is fine.
Everything's
exactly.
fine.
I was about to say it's very much that meme with the house burning and Jake the dog sitting there going, "This is fine."
Everything's fine.
So yeah, it's dropped off a lot, but I think that there's definitely those things that'll still spark the curiosity. But I think a lot of that a kid coming right out of his parents' house excitement has died down, and he's realizing that the world can be a really shitty and dangerous place.
Yeah, the rose-colored glasses kind of came off a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
They got stepped on and then like tossed into the ocean.
And
Yeah.
then butt chugged by a octopus.
Yeah, the butt chucked them.
But as far as the meeting with the mayor, Ecclesius is really confused with what's going on, because Ecclesius essentially is like, he's kind of a scientist almost, like he procures artifacts, like he's not a fighter. There's even like an episode where Ecclesius is like, you guys say you don't want to fight, but I've been with you for like a couple weeks, or an Iliad, and that's all we've done is just fucking fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's learning that the group that he thought was like this noble scientific, artifact collecting group, Seekers of Knowledge, are now working with the clan that killed Sven. And then we go to this new town that is disrupting Zio's perception of borders expanding, because now there's like a third player, and that third player is being either controlled or assisted or whatever it is by the person that was once with the Bureau but not with the Bureau anymore. So like at the dinner, Ecclesius is just like on edge, like waiting for like one wrong thing to be said to be like, "I'm out of here. You are rude. This food is shit."
Like a Mexican standoff where everybody has their guns pointed and one wrong thing said.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nick wants to know, to kind of extend off that, Ecclesius.
Me too.
How does Ecclesius feel about the Assembly's dealings?
He's definitely still in denial because you guys were the party, they were the first people to plant that seed of doubt in his mind, because we've had a lot of conversations of like what constitutes as evil and what constitutes as good, and then the gray area of justice is subjective. And then I forget who specifically in the party mentioned it, but they're like, well, how do you know that the Esoteric Assembly isn't doing bullshittery behind the curtains? And I'm like, oh no, they'll never do that. But then like you think about it for a second after seeing all these things, and now pieces are starting to like click into Ecclesias's mind. So I almost like feel bad for him, because although he's able to like, use magic and stuff like that, he lives in this big world of Falbion and in neighboring islands and continents, but like there's deep history, and it's an old world, so there would naturally be like artifacts and items and locations and stuff that have been forgotten to time or something like that. So like now he's dealing with this political backstabbing and getting caught in the middle of a war and like losing his identity and stuff like that, and now he's trying to like attach to the party, but now the party's gonna it's so complicated. But
Right.
like right now he feels like nervous, I'd imagine, but like I feel bad for him, which is silly because I make him do everything. I feel bad for him.
To kind of extend off that, a question for all three of you, because it was pointed out not last chapter but the chapter right before that at the end, with the recurring theme between political and powerful people higher up of the sentence, the world's going to be a lot different a year from now. So as players, what do you all think of that connection from two people that are seemingly very separated and different, having almost the exact same sentence and their perception on the world at large?
Character or player? You
as the player.
Okay. I love mystery and intrigue, and I just like eat it up. So it's honestly sometimes it's really hard for me to like figure out like what like Jess is thinking is going on and what like June would think or would have no idea. But as far as like both of those people saying that thing, it makes me wonder if they're working together, or and like they're both thinking that the world is going to look differently, because it was like the King of Solaria that said it, and the Master that said it. So it's like the Esoteric Assembly and Solaria. So I'm like, well, if they're working together, then maybe they think that Solaria is going to come out on top on this war. Solaria is going to expand, therefore the world's going to look like a much different place. If they're not working together, then I'm wondering if the King of Solaria thinks Solaria is going to expand, the world's going to be a different place, and if the Esoteric Assembly is working with like the Bureau and potentially Cornelio or Uthran or whoever else is involved in that side of things, if he's thinking that it's going to be a different place for the complete opposite reason.
See, there's a analogy, I guess, that I've heard. I guess it wasn't really an analogy, but I'm going to use it like one. The quote, if you will, is, and it's comes from my new and recent background of racing, and it's a lot of rally stuff, you pretty much you'll be on a track going 110 down a dirt highway or a dirt road on a cliff, and one little wrong move that you make will cause you to crash, but you made that move half a mile back. So it's like you can see the crash coming and you know what you did to cause it, but there's nothing that you can do to stop it.
I like that.
Yeah, so I think that it's something that these powerful people in the space, they have to do certain things in certain ways in order to make this political mesh work, and they know what happened already that's going to cause this incident that's going to happen in the future, but they're not really allowed, if you will, to tell the common folk.
Right.
Or us.
That's a good
So what
take
you're
on it.
saying is when Chester walked up and he was like, I need your help, we should just been like, nah. Good.
No, what I'm saying is Zio should have just stayed home.
Yeah. I'll start with that.
It
Zero
all
left
started
heart.
when
No,
Zio
it's
said,
shit.
yes, we are adventurers.
I know, right?
Yeah.
You should have been like,
That
we
was it.
dabble.
In the words of Gandalf, so do old who live to see such times, but that's not for them to decide.
Jeremy, what do you think about it? Because I with how it happened too, because it happened so much before it, and then we had a couple weeks off, that it kind of got lost in the mud of the water. But what did you think about it? Because you were, Zio and Ecclesius were the two that directly heard that. Ecclesius being the first to hear from his master, whom you trust the most. So what do you think about that?
It didn't even click for me until you, gracious DM, reminded us that we've heard that before. Because with Ecclesius as master, like, I've always had the bad habit of a D&D player is like never trusting any NPC, and then it kind of makes you like, insight check that, and then you don't create NPC bonds that will eventually help you. So I really leaned into the master, and now I'm finding out that he might be a bad guy. But but like when he
The one
said
time
it,
you needed it.
Yeah, trust
Yeah.
issues.
when he said it, it was just kind of like, all right, cool, my master knows what's up. But like Jeremy was seeing all of this stuff. I'm nervous that I feel like to try to make an analogy, I feel like we have like 3 wires and a bomb's about to blow, and we're just like last minute like, oh, blue one, and we don't know if it's going to be the right one. We don't know if Solaria is on the right side. We don't know if Uthron's on the right side. We don't know if like anybody's good or bad right now. We just see all these pieces falling. We don't know like whose finger pressed the first one to knock it down. So I'm like, that's my biggest nervous like feeling, is that we're gonna be like, actually Solaria, you guys are messed up. We're gonna go with Uthron, and then Zio's gonna be like, all right, cool. And then you're gonna find out that your parents are like liches or something crazy, and be like, your parents are assholes.
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't
I'm
know.
very confused to hear that they left.
I was wondering if you knew about that, and I think
Oh,
we
yeah.
touched a little bit on it. That Zio didn't know that his
I didn't
parents
know.
were were traveling south. So Anthony threw a curveball there.
Yeah, I mean, as playing Zio, he knew the kind of power politics that Cornelia was playing and stuff, and he was, didn't want to be the one who was like, oh, I didn't know about anything that's going on in Uthron, where I'm from. So, of course, yeah, I know my parents are headed south, like, and then I got to, like, learn, I guess, a little bit more about Cornelio and how he was acting and everything, and I felt kind of comfortable with Cornelio. I think that he was acting in his own best interest and not for any of the other parties involved, especially when he was like kind of trying to get our recommendation whether or not he could trust the Goliath and all that. And I felt that he was very unbiased for what position he was actually in. And so the more that I heard about that, I thought about like, maybe I should like, say, yeah, actually I don't know where my parents are. Like, what's going on with that? So
Now, kind of talking to you, trusting, man, bad DM.
Cornelio?
Bryce. Yes, Bryce Cornelio. The party seems to trust this, as you proclaimed him, invader, over Tajit, who's been traveling with you all. Where do you think that comes from?
I think
The
that was
DM
my
plan.
own. Yeah, I think that was my own self-doubt in Tajit more than the party's.
Well, you're not alone in that. I'd say at least 50% of the party was like, fuck this guy.
Maybe because we
but-
caught him spying on us.
But almost immediately, Cornelio was pretty trusted, and he only had to say sorry when he wronged you, and everyone kind of calmed down. So, what do you think the reason is for that? I'd say the question to anybody that wants to answer.
I'm just gonna throw it out there that June and Jess don't trust Cornelio. He's either like playing kind of dumb, and someone behind is pulling the strings and like pushing him certain ways, or like Zio said, like he's just doing this because he wants to, and
It's a game for him.
yeah, and I don't like you, bro, but
Bruh.
yeah. So I guess I'm kind of on the opposite end of that. Like I don't trust Cornelio.
You just don't like him because he kissed you on the hand.
That was also that made me feel well because
None
of what he
square.
did. Like he took over this town.
All you had to
And
do
he's
is
associ-
kiss
and-
someone's hand, and he's like, it's
And
mine.
he's associating himself with the thing that killed my friend. So his hand, maybe I don't know, maybe he's kissing the Goliath behind screens, but
He's kissing
yeah,
the
so-
Goliath behind the
DM,
screen.
care to
kissing.
comment?
I just have it's
Behind the
just-
scenes kissing, care to comment?
but yeah.
Actually,
No, I like you. No, I like you.
I was gonna say I will not die a happy man unless I see my brother DM two different NPCs kissing.
Yep. But overall, I think as far as
There you go.
as far as your question goes, Anthony, I'm actually the opposite. Like I don't like or really trust Cornelio, and I do tend to kind of stick up for Tajit.
I think Ecclesius is the same way too. Like he, because we found an ear on the ground. I found that it belonged to this kid. Well, he's 22. Found that it belonged to Jeet, and then he quickly had. But then I think that was the reason that I think people were initially off put by him. Not to answer for anybody else, but because he was spying on us after we were having like a kind of a sensitive conversation. And then when we pressed him on it, he kept lying until he was like, "All right." So I think that's kind of what it was. But I think the fact that he finally kind of came out and he seemed scared and knew that Ecclesius was like, oh, he kind of reminds me of me, like not knowing what the hell I'm doing and making dumb mistakes around the wrong people. But luckily, we're not just going to blast you into a pile of ashes.
Right.
Speak for yourself.
That's the same.
If it works, Zio. If it works.
Yeah, if it worked.
Hey,
Hold on, it's coming.
he's got it down
It's
now.
coming.
And if not, he's got the circlet, so you know.
It's a necklace at this point.
Yeah.
I still
Yeah.
can't wait to give you a circlet that you have to wear.
You
Like, that is the most powerful item you can possibly use. Only Zio can utilize it, but it only works on your forehead.
Every time you like move it down, it's like Santa Claus in his beard. It just like
Mhm.
it goes
Yep.
back to where it's supposed to be.
To answer Nick, there may be some chariot racing somewhere in the world that I guess you guys will have to try to find.
Hey.
Cthulhu
It
did not
evolved
trust him.
into
Airship
racing.
Well, it starts on
Eh.
the airship, and then it's like a rally race, and then you like drop the chariot, and with the
Like a
horses too
marathon?
early, they just start running, and then they land.
I just like the idea for chariot racing, like, and then airship racing.
I know, right?
Like 80 people sitting here looking at the one next to it. Fuck you!
But just really intense music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alar immediately heads east in search for speed. No, it's called spice in this world. So it's-
Spice.
We don't talk about spice.
No, we don't talk about those things. I'm trying to see if I missed anything. Nope.
I have a question for June, real quick, if I can
Yeah, go ahead.
hop in. So June, you actually, I don't know if you grew up here, but you spent a good portion of your of your life not too far from this town. And I imagine, has June ever been there before to Frias? I can't remember if you asked.
I mean, I know for a fact that I've traveled through it because that's the way that me, Cthulhu, Alar, and Zio came.
Not Cthulhu, just you, Aylar and Zio.
Oh, just me, Alar, and Zio. Yeah, that's the way that we came from the little town.
Yeah, I don't know if you spent. If you did, it wasn't like a profound amount of time.
Yeah,
here.
So without giving away too much, primarily like my time in the area was more like in like a little, almost kind of hobbit hole in the woods. You know, like a wizard's den. Yeah, so I mean, like, I'd like to think that, you know, in the past, occasionally we'd go into town, you know, get supplies, check for stuff, but never really like spent much time in there.
You had mentioned that June doesn't want to, because I always wonder this, because of course war's bad. Like, war's bad unless you're profiting from it, right? But June has made it very apparent that you don't want another war because you don't want needless lives lost. I'm curious for anybody's justification as to, in this situation, why war is bad, aside from like the needless loss of life, which is the obvious, because a lot of times, I mean, I shouldn't say good comes from war, but there can be like an entire paradigm shift that changes the world afterwards for the better, because some cataclysmic event shifts everything into the right. But if we don't yet know which side is the good side, because we kind of have our feet in both camps, what would be the bad thing with Solaria and Uthran going to war over this strip of land? Because we don't even know how far east their boundaries go either. So if we like travel east, we might find some other town or settlement being like, wait, no, that's our land, and then just
You mean west?
No, east.
Oh, east.
East
West
would be
is-
like to the Lost City.
No, west is the Lost City.
Yeah.
South is a lost
No,
city.
south, yeah.
South of Solaria is a lost city. He's speaking of Freyas. You can only go to the east. The west is the ocean.
Oh, well then I had that map like completely backwards in my head.
Yeah, because
Oh,
like if Solaria
no,
is
I'm
here, and
just
then
dumb.
like, and then the west
Okay.
is.
Oh no, I'm just.
You can
dumb.
find it in Discord and maps, cause it's the only fucking photo in maps.
Okay, Jeremy sang that song to me for like a week.
Forgot to clip it.
Photos and maps.
Oh, but yeah, as far as kind of why June doesn't want to see war, aside from not wanting innocent people to die, the way that I kind of see it is that she grew up like right near the border of Uthran and Solaria, and her family owned an inn, so there were people from both nations kind of coming in and out and traveling through. And I think that she just has an appreciation for both nations are what they are, and she doesn't want to see like any bloodshed over territory.
What about you though, Zio? Because if for whatever
how
reason
does Zio feel?
there is a war, and if Zio gets his jollies from a bigger backyard in which he can play, if Uthran did like decimate Solaria only to claim like the rubble, would you feel it was a good thing? Or like, I know you said it was like a mixed bag before, but at the end of the day, would Zio be pumped that Solaria would now be flying Uthran colors?
And in an extension of that too, with your knowledge of the last war that happened, how does that affect this too?
So, if Uthran was able to completely stomp all over Solaria, and it was going to be a very obvious victory for Uthran, then yeah, Zio would be happy and down for that. You know, my city's bigger, better, and winning. But
Kingdom, by the
with
way.
my kingdom, if with my knowledge that I have of the last war, I know that Uthran lost the last war, and I don't think that we have the power to beat Solaria. That's my own interpretation of things, but yeah, I would probably need to make some history rolls and see what Anthony decides to tell me. But the way
You
that
get
yeah,
nothing. You lose, sir.
I think that the way that things are kind of going right now, my thoughts are that Uthran might have a decent enough chance like it did in the last war, and that we might not get stomped all over, but you know, it kind of seems to Zeo more of people not learning from history and it repeating itself.
Yeah, that would be spooky knowing that you know the past and that it almost seems to be like projecting itself in front of you, and you're like, well, it'd be cool if we won, but I don't know if we're gonna, so let me just chill for a couple decades.
So we should probably not.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't loop it. Jay, can you handle that?
No, we didn't hear
yeah.
the fight music in a while. But I have a quick question. I don't know if you already had this on like your list, Fern, but because Ecclesius, like he wasn't a part of the Sven debacle in the Bureau, though having the dream and the Raven Queen kind of, I don't know, like manipulating his mind to like want that lust or that lust for vengeance. But after we got pulled down into the sewer and confronted by Cinder, how does June and like Zeo feel about that? Because I know like it was a really heavy episode when Sven came back. I mean, but now you are almost forced to get revenge with the help of the person that flies the colors of the person that killed the reason why you have revenge. It's crazy. How do you guys feel about it?
Zio, you can go first.
Okay.
So,
I need to think about it. You go first.
Oh, I mean, I kind of know, but
Hey, Beast, thanks for that 2 months
After you.
resubscribe. Thank
Hey.
you, buddy.
awesome.
Appreciate it.
You're great.
So it's
Augie?
odd getting the help from the Bureau to kill a member of what we thought was the Bureau. You know, I'm hoping that he was never a part of the Bureau for the time that we knew him. And
Who was
that
this? What are you talking about?
the Goliath.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that the Goliath was already excommunicated from the Bureau by the time that he went and killed Sven. And I think that explanation has a lot of weight behind it, with him just kind of being like, you know what, fuck these guys, I'm just gonna kill one of them, you know. So it could be a Bureau thing, but I think that it would make sense for him to already have been excommunicated by that point. And then
Was he wearing the colors of the Bureau when we first saw him? I can't remember.
he was
He
not.
didn't
no.
have any green, though.
He
no, he
wasn't.
just had the
Yeah.
tattoo, which I mean, I'm
Wasn't he
guessing.
wearing kind of reddish clothing, I thought?
I'd
He
have to
had,
go
like-
back and remember. I don't think it was anything distinct.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason that we thought he was with the Bureau is because he had the tattoo.
Tattoo.
Yeah.
So did Brick,
So-
but he had a
Oh, that's.
tattoo of a
I
crossover.
mean, you can't really get rid of. That's just gonna.
He had a circle
gonna
and
be
then he
there.
said join that crossed out with the join. So it's like don't not join the Bureau.
Yeah, don't not join.
So yeah, I think that it's, if anything, that like kind of cuts our ties of anger with the Bureau and lies it solely on a single person. Not saying that what the Bureau's doing is good and we can just, you know, let them do their own thing or be allies with them or anything like that, but our vengeance can end at this one man, maybe with his handler as well, but we don't have to go and wipe out the entire Bureau just to get our revenge for Sven. And so that part's kind of comforting. But having somebody from the Bureau help, it's just finally, like, there's somebody else out there with the same goals and can help us get our stuff done. I guess that's kind of how Zio's looking at it.
It's
So-
like if the ends justify the means, kind of.
On that
Exactly.
same token, though, like, what does that have for the weight in your head of, oh, yeah, he was a part of the Bureau. We just went to another town, murdered a bunch of Bureau members, came here, kept trying to join them to take them all down from the inside, and then we're like, oh, he was a Bureau? My
I
bad.
think that was the racing analogy that Charms was making. That like maybe that might have been the part where we fucked up, but we're just like, ooh,
Oh, okay.
kept
Yeah.
going. It's like long division. It's like you just do 9 hours worth of homework, but then like up here you messed up and you just keep.
Yeah, that actually hadn't occurred to me at all. I didn't even think about, well, we killed a member of the Bureau, and
Yeah, I didn't think about it till just now.
yeah, I completely, and that was
Multiple.
the first.
Multiple. I
is
thought it was
true,
just
yeah.
the one.
No, we just the one.
Do you think
Yeah,
he,
so-
Lennon,
And all
and
his
then the
people.
other guys that were traveling with Lennon?
Okay, well they were like Team Rocket grunts. They don't
Yeah,
count.
they just had a bunch of Weedles and
They're not, what was it, Giovanni? Giovanni?
Giovanni.
They're not Giovanni.
But
Yeah.
to answer Ecclesias's question, June, what do you think?
Okay. So I like to think of June as trying to see like the gray between black and white a lot, but then also trying to make sense of the black and white and pick a side, I guess. As far as what you mentioned and the fact that we've killed Bureau, now this Bureau member is coming to us saying that the guy that we've been searching for is not part of the Bureau. I think that I still feel like I don't feel bad about helping Brick and kind of taking out those Bureau members, because I still don't agree with what the Bureau is trying to do. So
Yeah.
as a whole, I'm still not, I don't feel this burning desire to infiltrate them in order to get to the Goliath anymore,
Right.
but I still don't agree with what they're doing. So therefore, I'm cleansing my conscience of Lennon. I don't care. And as far as kind of Cinder's alliance per se, I think that June feels like she was able to get a little bit of information out of Cinder, and he's offering assistance for something that we've wanted to do. I think she also feels like, from what Cinder's mentioned, that whether the Goliath was excommunicated from the Bureau before he killed Sven or after, either way, he was excommunicated because he's almost worse than the Bureau. And therefore that almost kind of like fuels June's like desire to put a stop to this guy. Not only to, for revenge, but also for, like I said, like the fact that he appears to be kind of out of control. And at the moment, it's like Cinder kind of said too, is an enemy of my enemy is my friend. And I don't agree with the Bureau, but Cinder's standing in front of me and he's willing to help me accomplish something that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
What about Ecclesius? What do you think about this? What's gonna eventually progress to this meeting?
Like he's in a weird spot because he wasn't a part of the group when they got like the revenge like inkling towards the Bureau, but now that I see that the Bureau is now working with the Esoteric Assembly, and he sees that it could be an evil group, but he hasn't had any personal dealings with them negatively besides like Lennon. But
Correct.
I feel like
Sorry.
I was just gonna say that like Ecclesius is only running and having to deal with the Bureau is hearing the stories of his friends, and then having to deal with Lennon to save another life. So he's constantly been put in like these weird like moral situations where he's trying to outweigh the consequences, but also doesn't want people to get hurt. But then like the whole Cinder thing, it's like I'm with these people because they seem to be like my only salvation from the uncertainty that surrounds everything. But when he was like, well, I'll help you kill this person that used to be part of our really bad group, but he's even more badderer. And if you don't, like, there was a part where Ecclesius was, and I was honestly confused too, because it seemed that the Bureau wants war, and this Goliath seems to be like a rod in their spoke, pretty much. So there was a part where, like, if we let the Goliath live, then he continues to screw with the Bureau's plan, which is to incite war. So there's like this weird area that I was sitting in where it's like, should we leave this person alive? Or maybe he has more information, which is what I'm more worried about. We're going to fight the Goliath, and he's like, before you kill me, I'm going to tell you something that is even more of a twist. We're just going to be like, oh.
Can I make a comment about what you just said, Jeremy?
I'll allow it.
Thank you. So I get what you're saying, but the way that I guess from my perspective, and just something to think about, is that I think of it of kind of like back to Jay, your driving analogy is like
That's not actually an analogy.
well, it's Jay's analogy now. Okay.
It's an anecdote.
Okay, you grammar, please. Anyway,
I'm
so
teasing
I
Jay.
kind
Okay.
of
said it.
Yeah.
I kind of see it as that, like, if you think of the Bureau with this like long drawn out, very like intricate plan to get their final result, and the Goliath isn't necessarily stopping them from getting the final result, but perhaps like accelerating their plan when they weren't anticipating it, or throwing wrenches in it, not in the sense that the Goliath is like, what he's doing is going to stop a war from happening, but it's not what the Bureau had planned initially, and they wanted to do it a certain way.
So, I think that the line that got you hung up was where Cinder said something along the lines of, yes, the Bureau's ultimate goal is to have a war between Celeria and Uthron, but my mission now is to kill the Goliath.
Mhm.
So it's not he's stopping us and he's hurting our plans. That's just not what I'm here to do right now. I'm on a specific task, and this is what my task is, and you guys can
Unrelated.
help me with that. Yeah,
That
two
makes
separate
sense.
things. Yeah, that's how I interpreted it.
And to be honest, like, not to break immersion on it, that's like what he was meaning by it. He's like, listen, yeah, that's what the Bureau wants. I don't fucking care what the Bureau wants right now. My job is to kill him.
He's like, they're going to pay me to do this.
If we all wanted to incite war, but my job was to go get everybody milk, that's what I'm doing. He's my milk. I'm getting it.
And I'm the milkman.
I do wanna ask Jeremy, because correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if I'm thinking of a different campaign or something else, but did Ecclesius not say, I will travel with you as payment until we take down that Goliath?
No, Ecclesius did say that.
Did he
Yeah.
say that? Okay.
Yeah.
Bitch, you
Yeah.
gonna
I
leave?
thought of that, I think yesterday.
Get your milk, Ecclesius.
Yeah.
He's your milk.
From a saucer.
Who's the real milkman?
Yeah.
It would be the cat. It'd
Straight
be the
out of the
giant cat.
bottle. And then when the cat is having a drinking problem, he's drinking it right out of the
Out of the
he's just-
carton.
You're like a fucking anchor man
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
phone booth.
Just a few final questions. If anybody in chat does have any other questions, we will be wrapping up sometime or shortly. So make sure you throw them in chat, and I'll ask them soon. I do want to ask, because I totally had it planned the whole time and totally didn't come up with it later. What do you?
The Goliath's
all
our
think-
father.
What do you all think of when
All of ours.
when Cinder
We're all related.
said that the carriage driver is his quote-unquote jockey and is to keep him in reins?
I thought about how I think
Pictured
it
him
was
riding them.
No, I think it was Nick that put that seed in my brain.
And it was
And-
during the last talk that we had during the when
Yeah.
we called it the tavern talk.
Yeah.
You all brought it. You were very interested in that.
Yeah, so when you mentioned that was actually it, I was like, I
I
knew it.
totally had that plan from the very beginning, and in no way changed my plans.
I know.
This
Damn
is
it,
gonna be
Nick.
a weird reference to that, but it reminds me of House of the Dead 2, like the arcade game when you're fighting one like the giant Goliath final bosses, but you can't hurt him by shooting him. You gotta shoot that imp that flies around.
Oh, that's
So
right.
I'm
Fuck
just
that
yeah,
boss.
just
Okay,
worried.
everyone
I'm
needs to
worried
stop
about it.
giving Anthony ideas now, please.
What if
No, you
we
had
all-
to. You had to stab his kids to hurt him. He's an emotional, healthy man.
stop hitting my
Here's a
kids? It hurts me.
Yeah.
What if the dragon was in the basement?
Yeah. Nick.
I
Yeah.
What if
I
the
want-
dragon was in the basement?
this is an inside joke that I don't think that I know about.
And otherwise, I blame it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
Big
seriously. So, what do you
campaign.
think about that? I have some more questions. We're pretty much going to be talking on the meeting coming up from here on out and the Goliath. But what do you all think of the fact that the cab driver is more powerful and is supposed to keep the Goliath on reins?
I think he's turned, or he's either on the same like radical level of the Goliath, and he's just letting him go and doing what he wants and supporting him from like
I believe in you.
yeah, or he
pencil.
is like somehow almost like manipulating him to be the way that he is because it's what the jockey really wants.
Don't humanize him. Don't do it. He's just a victim of the.
Oh no,
little
I'm gonna
boy.
murder both of them, like, real hard, but
Well,
What if you get
It's
the
just-
last blow and
it's
he's
just
just like, it
nuts.
was never me. I was a pawn in a bigger game. Ah.
I don't know about
It's like that Family Guy quote where they're saying that as long as you accept Jesus Christ right before you die, you can go to heaven. And then Osama bin Laden is standing there. He's like, I accept Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. And then they shoot him, and he is in heaven. He's like, yes. At the very end, he's like, I don't worship the Raven Queen.
I get the same kind of vibe as Jess. I think that he and I want to use a Naruto reference here, but I'm not sure how far Anthony is through it. So
Not far enough, probably. So maybe
Yeah.
just avoid that one.
Aang's my favorite character
You're
in
like, don't
Naruto.
spoil us. Jen, you didn't even
it's
watch
not like
Avatar.
it's not super far in, but basically, somebody is
I love James Cameron.
wanting to just kind of let this person loose on the world and just wants to watch them do whatever it is that they do.
Are you talking about the adopted kid?
No,
Never mind.
no.
The other
it's,
Seki Genkai?
No, I think it's something that you haven't gotten to quite yet,
okay.
but you're getting there real soon.
So
but
this
anyways,
is a
yeah.
Naruto stream.
Yeah, this is Naruto.
Switch
We're
it.
power
It's now
scaling.
it's just Charms and Fern talking now. Or at least
But
it's
no, I
not me.
think that this jockey or handler, whatever term we're using for him, I think it makes sense in my eyes, and maybe it's just because I've seen this somewhere else. But I'm hoping that he's just not a player that is actually going to do anything for either side. I think that he got this guy under his wing as his apprentice or whatever, just to watch him, make sure he doesn't go too far. And this guy started wreaking havoc, and this guy was just like, oh, this chaos is a lot of fun. I'm just gonna ride this train out and see where it goes, and just because I'm that bored kind of deal.
It's like the Raven Queen.
That's what the
Yeah.
chariot race comes in. We gotta chase his chariot down.
But
the
yeah,
the final boss level.
I'm thinking that's his deal is we'll kill the Goliath, and he's just like, well, that was an awesome show, on to the next one. Like that's what I'm thinking.
Carriage
and
turns into a
hoping.
rocket ship and just.
Yeah, I don't know if Jay, like I mentioned, like something similar, like train of thought, but the other part of me feels like he does have a connection to him in some way, or he's using him in some way. And
Yeah, of course. That's
yeah, I don't
the other
know.
thing.
I don't know if we're gonna get the opportunity to take out the Goliath without him interfering.
I'm just wondering, could he take him without us? He seems like he was about to go do that regardless, but I just picture him like being, because Alar and Ecclesius spotted him in the alleyway, like fiddling with something tiny. So I'm just like waiting for him to be like, yeah, I saw you guys, and I was like, fuck. He's like, I picture him like being in the alleyway, like, I can't fucking do this. He's just like a, I don't know, like a ESA rock or something like that, or a ESR. He's just like emotional support rock. I can't do this. They look tough.
Andy's
Can't
getting
come to
it.
the sewer.
Andy doesn't even have to pay you. You guys are cheap.
I'll pay you in books.
Pay me in knowledge.
Do any of you have any other questions before I ask my final question?
I have a
Well,
question for you,
Jeremy,
DM.
How do you
Oh, sorry.
how do you feel about this handler guy?
The handler guy, I don't think
I guess you
he's
have
like,
to answer as Jeremy because Ecclesius never met him.
yeah, Ecclesius
yeah.
never saw, but like, I don't think he's like a real person. Like, I think that he's almost like a, what do you call it? Like an enigma or some sort of like a like personification of like a deity or something like that. Because like the Raven Queen is definitely meddling in something, because
Yeah.
she bestowed the Raven's Edge to Alar, with Cade at the Ethereal Forge. But we made the direct correlation with the glaive that the Goliath has. So there's something at play here. And for all we know, it could be the Raven Queen just like, I'm bored. Like Sheo Gorath or something like that. Like, just amuse me. But yeah, I don't think it's like a person that's just going to like Darth Maul his robes off and be like, now we fight the real bad boy.
Yeah.
And if it is, we're fucked.
I would say I can see that happening, but
There's a one thing that this all brings to mind is one of the times, I think it was right after we fought the Goliath, but I was talking with Anthony, and we were kind of just talking about like how weak we were and all that, and we're trying to like go up against this guy.
Level 3.
And yeah, and he was like, yeah, and what you guys don't realize is this guy's got a boss, and that guy's got a boss.
yeah.
And I'm sure none of this was like set in stone in his storytelling or anything. It's just like, in Anthony's
Keep
mind,
it in
he's just
mind.
like, this guy's part of an organization. He's obviously not like the big bad. Like, he's got a boss who's got a boss, and they're all gonna be stronger. So watch what you guys are doing, type deal. So I don't know if you've had considered that and broken him away from this organization, so we're not fighting up the ladder of this entire organization or whatever. But
Like a Sega game, just start at the minions and then you fight the bad guy at the end.
yeah.
Jeremy, you said you had a question for me?
I do have a question for you. How, because TPKs are all fun and dandy, right?
No.
They are. They're fun to do. They're fun to do. It's like a one shot or something like that. But I suppose it'd be spoiling what we're about to go into. But how do I phrase this now? Because as I was gonna ask it, it would definitely you would have to reveal it. No, because like in the form of storytelling with Dungeons and Dragons, it's like you want to challenge the players, whether it's like their morals. And obviously, like when you're in battle, you don't want it to be easy. You don't want it to be too hard. You gotta it has to be. It's tough to be a DM and make a fair game, but if there's no danger, then there's no risk, and then it's a big play box. So my question is, now that you're bringing all these threads together, are you nervous that we might make the wrong choice, or? Not implying that there is a wrong choice, but there has to be some measure that we just don't do anything right to the point where like there has to be.
That's where my anxiety with D&D comes from.
Like any video game, there's always a point.
Okay.
Like when you're playing The Witcher, and you're just like, oh, it's a piece of barley, and you pluck it out of the ground, it's just like, yeah, and quest failed, and you're like, for fucking what?
All right, well, the way I look at it is, in our first campaign we ever played, for 5 years, I couldn't kill one of you, no matter what I threw at all of you. All right? You guys 3-rounded a Hydra like it was fucking cake, and I needed to attack the squishiest member of the group 5 times just to knock her unconscious.
It didn't take all 5 times, though.
3 out of the 5, 2 missed.
You meet Joe Black at the end.
So the way I look at it as well is, I don't know if the full gravity of the situation is, just to kind of explain all of it, I don't know if the full gravity of the situation, because the last time you guys met him, with no effort, killed your friend. Like, 1 attack. Well, it was 2 attacks.
2 attacks. How dare you?
2 attacks.
How dare you? How dare you say it was only 1 attack?
And it was only 2 levels ago, and I'm wondering if the party is like just so gung-ho to kill this guy that they're not thinking of how strong he was. And like, all right, maybe we should think about this just a little bit, like, how are we going to do this instead of just these pretzels are making me thirsty and then just going at it. But in terms of, like, I guess a TPK, I wouldn't say that there's any wrong choice. There is just bad choices to make. There's safe choices to make too. Like, if you guys,
I don't feel confident.
very political.
I feel very not confident.
know,
well,
right?
all right,
Yeah,
let me explain. So, like,
I'm like,
the
do we need to
safe route,
reconsider?
if you guys are very worried about it, would be to, like, not go along with Cinder. Save first. Not go along with Cinder. Not attack the Goliath here. Leave. Yeah, there are safe options, right? Then there's dangerous options of just not thinking about it.
Killing everyone.
Not saying this is an insult, but Cthulhuing straight into the Goliath. Just balls to the wall. Let's kill this guy. That is a potentially dangerous thing, because the last time that happened, it didn't go well. But at the same time, the danger, I don't need to pose the danger anymore, because the danger's already been shown.
Danger is us.
Well, the danger is, he already killed your friend, so the danger's there. I don't think I need to do any more to show you, hey, this guy's not, he's not a Hydra.
He's waiting for, Cinder's basically going to pull like a Captain Marvel and be like, you didn't have me before.
Yeah, and then just
go
fly
invisible
through the Goliath and be pointless the whole time.
She wasn't pointless.
She was.
Hey, Bree could be watching the stream right now.
now.
Bree could be watching the stream right now. She could be?
I guess I don't really have an answer. If you guys do fight it, I would hope you would understand that it's going to be a dangerous fight. With or without Cinder, it'd be a dangerous fight.
I hope Charlie just hops in and he's just like, fucking finally, these 4 guards won't let me piss without looking at me. Yeah.
I almost forgot who Charlie was at one. I was like, who the fuck's Charlie?
How dare you?
I don't even care. But I mean, I would hope, I guess my answer is I would hope you guys would know already that this would be a dangerous fight. But at the same time, when I started answering, I've never once thrown anything at you guys. There's been challenges like, oh, they're going to have a hard time with this. And I was like, 2 rounds, huh? Sick. So, I don't know. Players surprise DMs based on creativity and just dice. The dice play a huge part in it, because like with that Hydra I failed every saving throw it had, except the ones where you were shooting it with a squirt gun. So
He did seem like he was in a very small home, so maybe he was just like, is this how I Hydra?
It was his tent. All right.
How do Hydra?
I'm just gonna put this out there that I do not feel confident about our decision we have made.
Well,
For Friday session.
for a final question, you can answer. I want the player's answer for sure, but you can answer as the characters too. How do you guys think, if there is a fight, how it will go, how the meeting will go, and specifically, do you think, with or without Cinder, you could take the Goliath, being 2 levels higher?
Now I don't know.
Well, before Jeremy asked you that was going to be my final question anyway, is do you think that this battle is a plausible win, a plausible fail, a definite win, definite fail, or you have no idea how it could go?
I thought we had a chance.
Well,
I never said you didn't, but I guess this is a good thing that I'm reiterating. Remember, this guy is, not a pushover.
I think that I think for one, the meeting will be super tense, a little bit awkward. I think that there's going to be some curveballs that are thrown in there that at the last second, we're gonna
Feeling lucky, punks.
really be thinking about whether or not we're thirsty. And
Sorry to interrupt. Did you just read what Nick wrote too? Is that
Yeah.
what you were?
Sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead. That was
You're
just
good.
funny. He said that the Dirty Harry monologue is literally what he listened to over and over again for Alar's voice.
Does shoot 5 shots or 6 shots? You gotta ask yourself, buddy, am I from the north? Am I?
What's my first language? Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Feeling
Yeah, I
northern
think
punk?
that I think the meeting will bring up some questions that are going to make us really consider whether or not this is what we want to do right now. I'm hoping that it won't just be the Goliath there. And I do remember that we have already told Cornelio that we didn't want him there, so it's gonna be a little bit awkward now. Going, you know what? Bring him in. Yeah, bring him in.
Yeah.
But I'm really hoping that his handler's there as well, so we can kind of get an idea of who the hell this guy even is. But if it's a fight between the Goliath and us with Cinder's help, I feel pretty confident. And this also goes back to, I think, the same conversation that I referenced before of when it was you and I, Anthony, talking about this Goliath. And you were, I don't know if this was a defense, like, sorry for, killing Sven, and this is me in defense mode, but you said something along the lines of, like, well, technically, you guys could have killed him. Like, the number is
no,
like
my
you were playing
exact
with numbers.
words
Right.
were technically you guys could have fought him.
Okay. No. You were saying something along the lines of, like, he
No.
wasn't completely, like, there was. It seemed like there was a possibility if we rolled nothing but natural 20s, we could have killed him.
And you rolled nothing but natural zeros.
I know, right? But it seemed like you were playing at the numbers game defense of, well, it was possible.
Yeah,
But-
that's how I meant. Like, of course it's possible. If you guys didn't, like, backpedal, accidentally shoot an arrow into this guy that hit him fight.
Yeah.
Planned it out. There's a possibility you could have.
I do think so. That's been in, like, the back of my mind for a long time, and going throughout this, I'm like, all right, we leveled up once. That possibility is a little bit more. All right, we leveled up again. Our steps are, we actually have a fighting chance. So I'm hopeful that we have a fighting chance, and I think that we can pull out some serious numbers for damage, and we can actually do some good healing as well.
Mhm.
So I think that number wise, I think that we have a chance.
Well, that is one thing too. On top of it, you lost your healer. You have a.
Oh, really? Well,
well,
we have healers.
You have heals, but you lost your healer.
Yeah.
With your super heal spells. God, Jeremy.
Yeah, what are you
It's just-
doing?
It's just funny because somebody said something inappropriate, so the message was deleted, and then to be silly, I typed in what happens when you delete a message, and I thought it'd be funny to highlight it because I have like 17,000 Arcane Archive points. So just
Just real quick, I think that I'm kind of with you that I think that we have a chance. Am I super confident, or do I think it's going to be easy by any means? No. Do I think that my squishy ass is probably going to go down? Yeah. Am I hoping that I don't permadie? Yes. Am I really hoping that if it turns into that the jockey just stays out of it? Yeah.
man, you could have done an interview with yourself. Look at all those questions you
I was
answered.
gonna say, let me ask all myself these questions.
I don't want to die.
Softball,
I don't
yes
want
or
it to be
no's.
hard.
Yeah. I was kind of
Loot, money, fame.
I was thinking about what Zio mentioned, that we did specifically ask Cornelio to not have the Goliath at the meeting. So I think it's going to be really tense. But if he actually adheres to our what we were wanting him to do and not have the Goliath at the meeting, then the whole thing is kind of avoided for the time being. So yeah, I think I'm just curious to kind of see what happens if Cornelio decides to kind of just completely say, well, like, screw you guys, I'm gonna have him here anyway, or if he's trying to get on our good side and actually won't have him at the meeting. And I'm kind of curious, if he's not at the meeting, what is Cinder gonna do if he's gonna like track him down or something?
That just popped into my head. What happens if we just tell everybody that Cinder's up in the rafters during our dinner? What happens then?
What happens then? He'd probably try to kill one of us.
The Goliath would just be like, well, now I'll make your death painless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick.
Yeah.
Jeremy?
I don't think this fight is going to be easy, but again, I'm thinking about the repercussions, because wisdom or courage is not known to take a life when to spare one, and I think it would take some mega D20s to forgive the Goliath if we figure out, for whatever reason, that I mean, that's just a jump. I don't even know where to put that sentence, but yeah, we could go in there. Spells ablaze, never gonna happen. Never get this. So we can go in there and fight to the death with the Goliath, and then where does that leave us standing with the Bureau? Do we get like, all right, you helped us, we'll look the other way with Lennon, or now are we still in the middle of a bidding war with this, not even neutral ground, but I am nervous for the battle. I'm nervous for the battle because of what happened to my last character. And if Ecclesius somehow gets murdered to death, I might leave. Or Sven just comes back through the rafters.
No, you can't leave unless 3 die, because you killed 2 of mine, and it took the 3rd one for 2 episodes to not die. So, you gotta go through 3.
Everybody who decided
True
to
story.
fight, 13 Elven strong,
I didn't start the
level
fight.
10 archers.
Didn't start the fight.
But did you?
It only died by 1 HP. Just want to point that out.
It's true. From when I ran a campaign a year or so ago, the first episode, I had to kill Anthony's character.
You didn't have to.
I'll rephrase. I wanted to.
There we are.
I wanted to know what it felt like.
For episode 1.
I did think of one final question, because it's a simple one. I mean, it's deep, but it's not as much of a discussion. Provided that everything goes well with the Goliath, what do you all plan to do with Cornelio? Sorry, this simple question was a deep one.
It's not a simple question though. It's yeah.
Simple to ask,
You hold
not
him
so simple to
hostage,
answer.
because Tajit, let's say Tajit gets the old mayor. What do you all do? What are you thinking? What's in your head?
I guess my first thought is that if we take out the Goliath, and then depending on if his jockey like pieces out or not, then maybe Cornelio doesn't have his big muscle behind him, and we can convince him to give power back to the rightful mayor. After thinking about Cornelio's personality, I don't think that will go back.
Hey, Tooth Axis, thank you for the follow. I do not know why it didn't ping up on stream, but thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
101. You know,
Dalmatians.
Hey.
Thank you.
Right?
Appreciate it. Glad you're enjoying yourself.
But yeah, Anthony, that's a really good question. I don't know.
I honestly, there's a part of Ecclesius and Jeremy, because, it's me. But I think that before we go into that battle, like, I think we need to send out word to Chester and be like, are we smooth braining this by just going in? Because think about it, when we were trying to clear our names with Chester in the first place, everything we did, he was like, well, why did you do it? And do you have proof? You can't just go around killing, I think Anthony said, Susie Q, and be like, she was Bureau. She had a green lapel. But I'm worried
But
that
she
we're
did.
going to go in there and we're gonna be like, yeah, we killed the Goliath, and then Chester's gonna be like, well, the Goliath was imparted to Bureau, and then we're like, yeah, but we helped the guy from the Bureau. You what? Like
I explicitly
just-
told you not to do that before you left.
listen here, you
true.
little
He
Chester.
did.
Listen, you little shit.
Keep in mind, guys, if we go back to Solaria, we got a big debt to pay because Zio thought.
Yeah. No,
Zio
like I
thought
said,
the king was like,
Everything's
yeah,
on
let's
me.
go.
No, I said that 100%. Zio, you are
Oh,
owning
fuck.
that. I am not taking any responsibility for that. That is
We gotta
all
let
you.
yeah, we gotta let Uthron win now because if Solaria wins,
You might have to
We
pay
gotta
back
get
like 24
huge
200
gold.
gold.
I mean, to be fair,
Level
24
20.
And you
gold
get a
would help
massage,
someone
and you
live
get
for
a
like 8
massage.
years, but alright.
No, I think what came to my mind when you asked what we'd do with Cornelio, my plan of action would be we go after this fight, excuse ourselves, do whatever we need to do to get out of, the way of Cornelio, and then go find the other mayor, and we take him with us to Uthron, and we send a message back to Chester saying that we got his mare, let him know what was going on in Freyas, and tell him that we're gonna keep the mare safe and go to Uthron to see what the hell's going on over there.
What if the mayor dies on our way?
That's our job not to let that happen.
what if Falbion is just the shell of a great tortoise and it just decides to flip over?
Yeah, just roll over. Does that mean we drown, or is he walking?
That's if like Anthony has to move to Argentina and we can't continue to stream, and he's just like, actually, the world is just.
By the way, I just want to point out that Jay just asked me if something's walking in space.
Well, I imagine that there would be water, or the world is
That's what we
walking
call the
on another
spacewalk.
world.
Oh, spacewalk, that's true. He was walking on the moon. Well, with that, I believe that is going to wrap our first episode of Exploring the Archives. Thank you to everyone that came and hung out. Thank you. What is that?
It's an E and an A that
E
he's
and an A.
attempting. Yeah.
DNA with a tail.
Yeah.
How dare
But
you?
thank you,
You know I
Beast,
don't know how to do
for
E's.
that
EA.
resubscribe for the second month. Thank you, Toothaxis,
Hey.
for the follow. That puts us 101 because Kearney's Sideshow followed us to be the even 100. Thank you so much.
Hey,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you for everybody that's been here. If anyone new is still here, make sure you hit that follow button to know when we're going live. Follow our or you can join our community Discord down below and follow our socials
it.
for updates.
Do it.
Friends, do it.
Yeah, you were, Carney. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just as a reminder to everybody that our next chapter 21 will be this Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, so we can find out what is actually
God.
going to happen and the ramifications with this Goliath.
I'm gonna have anxiety for the next 2 days until
almost,
it.
yeah, 2 days.
2 days
2
until.
days.
I'm already having anxiety. I don't even know how many days away Friday is.
I know.
But it'll be interesting.
Yeah,
it'll be
that
interesting
is-
to
that's
see
where
how
I'm at
easy
right now.
it is for me to TPK all of you.
Don't.
That is my plan. If I kill you last, will that make you feel better?
No.
If you
It
just
will
die
feel
from failed
opposite.
saving
Fine.
throws,
I
will you
was
feel
just
better?
gonna say that, Jay. I was like,
What?
honestly, June's already seen that in the Raven Queen's vision. Don't make that come true.
I said, yeah,
And then-
if you
and
killed her last, it would fulfill a prophecy.
And then just to fuck with you, it's like, wrong door, bitch. Yeah, drink.
I thought
drink. There you go.
you chose the other door.
Right. Oh,
Kill me
damn.
first so I can have time to make a new character. So
Yeah, Nick, like you don't already have one strapped up.
you're just going to
Aw.
bring back Tapioca then. That was a favorite from our one shot. Tapioca John.
But
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway,
Yeah,
sorry.
thank you to everybody. We'll be live again Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern here on this channel. So make sure you join us there for that. Carney, I will hopefully catch another one of your streams coming forward. And Dice,
Heck yeah.
I'm glad you could finally make it. That's awesome. But take care, everyone. We will see you in a couple days so you can see the outcomes and the ramifications from the choices made in the first 20 episodes. chapters. God damn it! Even at the end.
I'm gonna cut the YouTube video right at that. God
Yep.
damn.
In the meantime, Tatiana, I will be drinking wine.
There you go. See you later, Shay. Thank you for everybody that came out. Thank you for all the follows. Take care. Much love. We'll see you in a couple days. Bye-bye.
Bye.